we are talking about now one of my most favorite subjects, and that is relationships. Y'all know I am a relationship and dating coach and a marriage counselor, couples counselor. I am certified to do premarital counseling, uh, all of the things. I am I do. Okay. So before we jump in, you can invite some people to come watch with you. Um, Anything else I need to say to y'all? And for those of you who are new, I am Ashley J. I am a wife, mother, um, therapist, relationship and dating coach, couples therapist, speaker, author, all of the things. And it's Ashley J's what started out because of relationships. But it actually the very original startings, the beginning of it's Ashley J's. It started out as a blog, and I still have some articles from my blog on my website. It's ashleyj.com. But it started out as a blog, and I wrote about everything pretty much. I pretty much wrote about everything. And then time went on, things started to evolve, and I started writing just about relationships, and then started my YouTube channel. For those of you who are on YouTube, you are watching from my channel, and it's Ashley J's. And then I had on there, I was doing different things on there at first. I was talking about vac. Did I talk about vac? I wrote about vacations, but on the YouTube channel, I talked about beauty. I talked about relationships. I talked about I can't remember. It was really just those two, honestly. So those were the things that I talked about, and I really loved it. But then God was like, "I need you to just focus on relationships." So I was like, "Okay." So here we are, a few years later, and I am just using my gift, which is I am gifted in the area of relationships. And there's times where I'm like, should I be? Because we go through ups and downs. Like in marriage, you go through ups and downs, but it doesn't change anything except my experience. Okay. I am more experienced in things now than I ever was before. So that is my thing about relationships. And I just remembered something that I needed to show you guys. And I don't have it up. So, but I'm super excited about talking about relationships because it's my thing. I love relationships. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is attachment styles. So attachment styles, that is how you think about and behave in relationships. And the way that your behavior expresses how you attach to your partner, your significant other. So there are four different types of attachment styles. You have secure, which is the one that everybody, goes for in their relationships. And you have avoidant, anxious, and anxious avoidant. So when you have a secure relationship, the reason why secure is the one that everybody needs to go after is because secure relationships are relationships that are healthy, like really, really healthy relationships. Okay. So With secure relationships, also, let me pause for a second. Also, with attachment styles, your attachment style is created in your childhood. So, how you attach to your parents or whoever your caregiver was, that's how you're going to attach in romantic relationships. So, a secure attachment, that means the person engages in healthy relationships with good intimacy, communication, and autonomy, expresses needs well, trusts their partner, and finds the relationship fulfilling. Those are the healthy relationships. That's what a healthy relationship looks like. And the characteristics of a secure attachment style is committed to relationship, but you're independent, attentive, affectionate, and accepting, and able to handle and resolve conflict. That's what a secure attachment style looks like. Okay, so that's let me paint a picture for you. So that's someone, two people who are together, and they are very vulnerable with one another. They're accepting of one another. They communicate well, which we're going to talk about communication. They communicate well, but they also have the right to how do I want to say this? They have the right to go as they please. Okay. So you are committed to the relationship, but you are also independent. Can I tell you that in your relationships, it is okay for you to be independent? It is, I recommend that you are independent in your relationships. You do not have to do everything that your partner does. You can be independent. You can go on your girls' trips. You can go meet friends for lunch. Whatever it means to be independent for you, that is allowed in a healthy relationship. Okay. Because trust is in that relationship. You have trust in your partner. Your partner is okay with you going to have a good time because they know that you respect your relationship and you will come back to your relationship. Okay? So, trust is in the relationship. That's why you're okay. It's okay to be independent. When trust is not in the relationship, then you got a different type of attachment. Okay? And when you guys are together, that then you find that the relationship is fulfilling. You're satisfied with your relationship. That's attachment styles. Okay? And I talked about this last week. I touched on it. I didn't really talk about it. I touched on attachment styles last week and said on the Love Experience show. And I said that I was going to do a show about it. So I'm giving you the material for the show that I have not done yet on attachment styles. Okay. So the next you have insecure attachments. And as I said, that's your anxious, avoidant, and anxious avoidant attachment styles. And this is, again, built on from your childhood. So you have a secure attachment, then you were able to, you were brought in, you were raised, I don't want to say brought up, you were raised in a way that was very productive, a way that provided you with your independence, but also you are emotionally intelligent. You were raised to communicate well. You were raised to find the satisfaction in life. You were raised to not look at things in a I always say this, but in a doom and gloom way, but you were raised to see things in a healthy way. Okay? That is your attachment styles. Excuse me. So, and your parents, you were okay with your parents leaving you for, or your caregivers leaving you for an amount of time. You were fine with it. Nothing was wrong with you when they left you. you are good. You carry that on in your romantic relationships, i.e., you are independent and autonomous. Okay. So for anxious attachment types, that is worries about their partner's availability and commitment. Often feels incomplete without their partner and may seek excessive reassurance or struggle with jealousy. Then the characteristics: distrustful of partner and relationship, afraid of abandonment, rejection, and conflict, and sensitive to criticism and hungry for approval. So, do you know what type of child this person was? This was a child that did not feel a lot of love and approval from their parent. Parent may not have known how to give it, or the parent uh, thought they were giving it, but they really weren't. So this person is always looking for an attaboy or attagirl, looking for that pat on the back. This person is always looking for that. And then if they don't get it the way they want to receive it, then they will believe, okay, well, you must be talking to somebody else, or you must be cheating on me. You must be up to no good. And they question the commitment because their partner has to go to work. We got to work. Okay. And they feel like if they're not home, then their partner is not considering them. And they question their commitment. You know, that's the person. I'm trying to think of a movie because I'm a big movie buff, but I can't, there's no movie coming to mind right now. But that's the person that is extremely clingy. And if they cannot uh, get their fulfillment or get the things that they need, their acceptance that they need, then they pitch a fit badly. Okay. So, and they feel like they need another person to complete them instead of coming into the situation complete. That's why I say, in the past, I have said, you don't need, there is no, you complete me. No, you need to go into this thing complete, because if you don't, then you will exhibit anxious attachment. And that's tiring. It's tiresome to have to constantly give somebody acceptance and approval when they should already have it. You know what you're bringing to the table. You don't need that other person to tell you. It's nice to be affirmed. That's one thing. But it's another thing to constantly do things just so you can get approval. Okay. And if somebody tells you, hey, I need you to ease back a little bit, I need you to give me some space. If that person hears that, then the world is over. The world is over, and I end up trying to figure out what I've done wrong and why aren't you, happy with me? Why can't you accept me the way that I am? That is how that person is. And I can admit there have been times where I expressed this type of attachment. There were times, I would say more so in my younger years, that I would feel like this. Okay. Like I said in the start of this whole thing, I never seen my parents together. So I would see my dad every other weekend. And every other weekend was it wasn't enough. Okay, it wasn't enough. And I was constantly seeking approval from a man and fulfillment from a relationship. That's why I was sad when I wasn't in relationships, because I felt like I needed a relationship to complete me and to show me who I really was. And that is not the truth. Okay. So then you have avoidant. This person can come across as aloof and emotionally detached. They tend to avoid intimacy, vulnerability, and commitment, often spending time away from their partner. So, well, let me give you the characteristics before I tell you who this person is. And they are overly rigid, guarded, and distant, uncomfortable with emotions and conflict, difficulty expressing needs and wants. So, I don't know if you ever checked out any of my videos on my YouTube channel, but I talk about a toxic relationship that I was in. And that is exactly who this person was. Everything that they said about what an avoidant attachment person is, that's who he was. Didn't really get real intimate with me, was hardly ever vulnerable. His commitment was shaky, and he would always want to spend time away from me. That would be those times when he would come up with this imaginary issue and break up with me for really, it was really just a weekend, and that was twofold. Okay. But that was, his commitment was shaky. Okay. He was okay with spending time away from me. And he was extremely guarded, and he was a little distant. He was a lot distant. And he would never really express his emotions. If he expressed his emotions, it was surface emotions. He didn't really express emotions with me because of whatever reason. He believed that I don't know, whatever. I can't think for him, but that is exactly what how he was with me. So yeah, avoiding intimacy. That was a tough relationship to be in, because you had somebody who was anxiously attached with somebody who was avoidantly attached, and you mix those two together, and that is toxic. That is extremely toxic. Okay. It is bad. It's no good. It is no good being in that type of situation. It's no good. It's so bad. Okay. So that is what that person is. Okay. So then you have anxious avoidant. That's all of those two wrapped in one person. Okay. So alternates between anxious and avoidant attachment. Simultaneously desires and distrusts intimacy with their partner, resulting in contradictory, inconsistent behavior. And the characteristics of that person: tendency toward emotional extremes, difficulty maintaining healthy boundaries, prone to high conflict relationships. Excuse me. So, I hate you, but I love you. I need you, but I want to be away from you. That is a person that is confusing. They are confused themselves, but the person that they end up with, they're extremely confused. Okay. That person is confusing. They don't know what they want to do, and it shows in their behavior. And their behavior is up and down, just like their feelings. They're up and down. Their behavior is up and down. And they either are really, really high in loving you, or they're all the way down here to hate. It's nothing in between. I love you, I hate you. Like I said, I hate you, but I love you. And you cannot have someone who bounces back and forth like that and understands what boundaries are. That is not going to work. There's no boundaries with this person. Okay. And if you try to set boundaries for them, they will constantly overstep their boundaries. Those boundaries that you have set for them, they will overstep them. Okay. And it's inevitable that they're going to have a high conflict relationship. It is what it is. That's what's going to happen with that person. They will always have these difficulties with maintaining peace in a relationship because they have no peace within themselves. And that's what it is. Okay. And I got all of this is actually one of the tools that I use with clients, with couples. I use this tool, and this from this website that we go to, Therapist Aid. So this is a tool, and I like to have couples to pick out, where do they think they fall? What attachment style do you think you have when it comes to this? So it's easy for me to find out your attachment style so that we can figure out how to get you into a healthier place, i.e., secure attachment. Okay. Most people have a primary attachment style, but it's common to have some traits from other styles. So you could be anxious, but you can also have traits from avoidant, or you can have traits of secure. Okay. Um, Early parenting, childhood events, and adult experiences all play a role in determining attachment styles. Everything we do in relationships, we are learning throughout life, but it starts from your parents' way of raising you. It starts from childhood, and different events dictate how you are in relationships. Okay. Um, you People with insecure attachment can become more secure by adopting new beliefs and behaviors. So the way you adopt those new beliefs and behaviors is start to work on yourself. Do the work on yourself. Feel fulfillment on your own. Get to that place on your own first, because the more you get there, the less you will expect somebody to fulfill you. The more that you learn that, or not learn, but understand that people have things that they need to do and they don't have time to be sitting up under you all day, the more you become more secure. Okay. Partners in a relationship can influence each other's attachment styles, either negatively or positively. So I'll go back to that relationship I was telling y'all about. So I, that person, because he was so avoidant, it was so easy for him to think, be away from me. There were things that I picked up from him. I was not a jealous girlfriend before. When I first started dating, I was cool with my boyfriend having female friends, and I'm cool. I'm back at that place now, but I was cool with, my boyfriend. I wasn't that girl. I wasn't jealous. I didn't, whatever. You got friends, you know what's up. Like, I'm your girlfriend. You know how to make the distinction. So I was okay. But when I met that dude and I told him I am not the jealous type, he said, "Oh, we'll see about that." And he made it his mission to make me jealous. And I became jealous. And I was like, I remember this day, because it was like he really needed me to be jealous. I don't need it for what? Why am I going to be jealous? But by the end of the relationship, I was jealous because he did things that made me uncomfortable on purpose with other women. And it was also that he could, I don't want to say teach me a lesson, but so he could make me jealous, fulfill that goal that he had to make me jealous. He he believed he was God's gift to women, first of all. So I will say that. He thought he was God's gift to women. And because he felt like he was God's gift to women, um, everybody wanted him. Now, he is a good looking guy. Okay. As you can see, I rarely mess with people that were not good looking. I had my little moment when I was like, oh, well, maybe I will try to date the not so cute guy. I had that moment because I'm like, well, he's still a person. It might be okay because these cute guys give me a pain in the butt. So, but that didn't mean anything. Anyway, so so he was nice looking. Yes, Kathy, he wanted power over me. And that was his way of getting me to fall to his demands. That was his way of doing it. So we had our issues. We always were arguing back and forth. Like it was dumb. It was so dumb. And it was a waste of time. It was a relationship I had no business being in. But I was hard headed. I seen all the red flags and I made the exception. How many times have you seen the red flags in people that you were dating and you ignored them just so that you can be with that person because you thought they had something to offer you? When we were having our first conversation, first in-depth conversation, the things that he was saying to me, I was like, there is no way I could be with this dude. This is crazy. And then now remember when I was talking to you about mental health, remember the other side, the battle between what I want to do and what I know I should do. Okay. So I was in that battle with him, with my mind, and the red flags were flaring. I mean, it was like fireworks going off. And I said by the end of that conversation, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot because some of the things he said sound real good, but it was no good for me. Okay, so those times when he wanted to break up on the weekend out of the blue or start an argument out of the blue that make me want to say, you know what, I can't deal with this during those times. Okay, it was I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my tablet straight. It was ridiculous. And we would break up and then get back together. Like it was stupid. It was so dumb. Why are we breaking up? Like, why are we breaking up to just get back together? There's no need for that. If I'm gonna break up with you, I need to stay away from you. So then he would come back and talk his sweet talk and be seductive, and I fall right back into the trap. That's how it happened. Okay. So maybe this is, gives you a clue of what avoidant relationships are like. And then on my side, like I told you, I was anxiously attached at times. On my side, it was torture because I was like, oh, I don't ever want to lose him. I need him. I'm so bored when it's just me. Child, please. If I could go back to Ashley then, I would tell her, go on about your business. This is not for you. Okay. Those red flags that you see, those fireworks that you're seeing, hey, that's your signal. Uh-uh. Leave it alone. Go away from it. I would tell her that. That's what I would say to her. But that after we broke up, I decided I had, my time of healing. I told y'all about that. Our time of healing. Yep, just like that, Kathy. My time of healing. That helped me, but it helped me so that I can get rid of those traits that I picked up from him. Okay. Always feeling like I need to fight. That kind of always been with me, but it was different in this relationship. I say that. So it is extremely important that you maintain your individuality and your independence, because when you are in a relationship, especially married ladies, tell me if I'm right, especially when you are in a marriage, you can get lost. And even those of you who are in um unmarried relationship, but I guess a committed relationship for years, you can get lost and you can lose your individuality, you can lose your independence. It's extremely easy for that to happen, but you got to maintain it. So that's why, before, if you're single, before you get married, you need to be whole before you go down that road. And when I say you need to be whole, you need to go to therapy, figure out who you are, and work on those areas that are broken. We all have some broken areas. It may look different for everybody, but we all have broken areas, all of us. So you heal those broken areas. You figure out who you are. That's important. It's important to figure out who you are, because you don't want your identity to come from the fact that you are married. You don't want that for your identity. Your identity needs to be separate from your marriage, because before you got with your husband, he was an individual and so were you. There's areas where everything will mesh together and you guys will become one, but you still need to be an individual. You still have the things that you like. You still have the things that um are what makes you you. So for me, things that I like, even though I have gone through a lot of transformations since my marriage, but things that I like, I love talking about relationships. I love this. This is me. I flourish in this area. Always have. I was always the person that people came to, my friends would come to, and ask me relationship advice. Even when I was single, they would come and ask me. I was always that person, for whatever reason. Well, not for whatever reason, because that's who God made me to be. But I have always been that person, even like more so after I graduated high school. But it kind of started when I graduated, when I was in high school. I was always that person. And I could give really good sound advice. And I would be saying to myself, where did that come from? But it would help them. So that's one thing about me. Another thing about me is that I can be very serious at times, but I can also be a goofball. It just so happens that I married a goofball, so I don't have to be the goofball too much. But I can be silly. I can be serious and I can be silly. What else? I am very, very, very big on taking care of myself, as in making sure I don't have any BO and making sure I was just clean in a hygienic way. And I'm gonna tell you why. I told you I'm gonna be very vulnerable. So when I was a kid, I started to have BO. And when I tell you I started, I was like, how old was I? I was like 5 years old wearing deodorant. Like legit, like that was a thing for me. I had to wear deodorant at 5. So for because I have hormone imbalances and that's caused, like, facial hair and stuff like that. So I had that stuff. I had those issues. So therefore, I am very conscious of my BO. Like that became who I am. I am very big on that. I can be who else am I? Lord. I am somebody that likes to be seen, but I'm okay if I'm not seen. Stick with me. So I I I like for people to see me because I went a long time believing that nobody saw me. And I'm okay if I'm not seen right away. I'm okay. I don't have to be the center of attention all the time. But I have my moments when I want to be seen. That is part of my makeup. And that kind of can cause a little rift in a marriage because it's not one person that needs to be seen, as two people. But that's part of who I am. I am very spiritual. I take my spiritual gifts very seriously. And if I feel like I am disconnected from God, if I'm not hearing him, I feel disconnected, and that impacts how I interact, not just with him, but with other people. Very spiritual. Okay. If you have not been able to tell that, you watch my videos that I put on my social media and even some of my videos on my YouTube channel. I'm very, very spiritual. Okay. I don't play about my relationship with God. Um, so that's just a little bit of who I am. Cause I'm drawing a blank on everything, but that's a little bit of who I am. But those areas that were broken before I got into a relationship, they needed to be healed because one, the type of husband that I have, if I came in broken, it would I'm trying not to say it to make it seem like he's a monster because he's not. But if I came into the relationship broken, then I would easily quit. I'll just say that. It would be very easy for me to quit this relationship. But yes, I've been at times where I had to decide, am I saying in this or not? But also, there's more I'm staying in this than it is I'm not. Okay. Um, he, my husband, he's a goofball. The family knows him as this. He's very silly, but also his serious side. My husband is very strong. He has the strength that if I'm broken, it could overpower me. I'll say it like that. If I came into this broken, it would overpower me. And I wasn't completely whole when I got with him because I was still searching for who I was. I was still searching for what I'm called to do. I still was searching. Even after we got married, I was still searching because one, I was running away from who I truly am. I told you I love relationships, and God had told me a long time ago that I was going to be a couples therapist, but I was trying to run from it. I wasn't trying to be a therapist, but here I am, a therapist, a couples therapist. And not only am I a couples therapist, I'm a relationship and dating coach. So go figure. I tried to run from it, and he gave me a double or triple of what I was going to be. So anything that involves relationship, that's who I am. Like I want people to learn from me. That's how deep, because I have things to offer. So if I am in a relationship where I'm not going to learn from mistakes that are made or learn from the growing pains of relationship, I would have nothing to talk about. I had no business being with that other guy I was telling y'all about, but even though I was with him and wasn't supposed to be, I still had lessons that I learned that I can bring to you. So, um, you have to be completely whole. You got to be completely whole in relationships. You cannot go into into marriage or be in a marriage expecting somebody to be your other half. No, you got to come in as a whole. Be letting somebody be your other half is unfair to them, because now they have the responsibility of creating someone that they didn't create. You were made by your parents. It's unfair to have your spouse be the one to finish the process. Y'all grow together. You are not a science project. He is not supposed to make you grow. Things will happen when you get with the right person in that relationship. You will evolve together, and there are some things that lie dormant within you before you get into that relationship, that once you get into the right relationship, they are awakened. Those things exist. Okay, you may come up with what am I trying to say? You may understand your calling a little more when you get in relationship with somebody, the right person. There are people that's designated to bring it out of you. 100% believe that. But you have to have you have to have the knowledge of who you are, because like I said, it's unfair to expect your spouse to be the one to make you. You are the one, you are the creation starts with you. And what I mean by that is, as I've been saying, we are the incubators, we are the nurturers. You give us something, a seed, and we will make it grow. So you you are the seed carrier. You have the, you will grow that seed and help it to mature, just like when you have a baby. Okay? So there are there's things that you're going to have to cultivate before you get in a marriage. You have to, I can't stop saying this, you got to be whole. It is so important, because there will be, imagine being in a relationship and your partner, husband or boyfriend or whatever you are, your partner will, he has trouble, and you guys are able to not mold each other, but help each other. If you do not have a clear understanding of your individuality and your who you are, then you won't be able to help your partner when they're going through that trouble. Okay? Because there's something that makes up you that can help him get to a better place. Does that make sense? Y'all let me know. I gotta take a sip. So there's something that you have, that you possess within you, that helps you um, help other people, help your partner grow. So going back to the individuality and knowing who you are, before getting into a relationship, you're going to want to have that, because um, you're not, it's not going to always be received that when you're in a healthy relationship, it's not going to always be received that you want to just be with them. What makes you happy? What makes you enjoy life? You can't find that through somebody else. you have to already know what that is. What makes you happy? What makes you more creative? Are you creative? That's something that I'm learning about myself now. I am a creative person. Never thought of myself like that before, I'll say last few years. Never thought of myself as someone that was creative. I always thought creativity just that came with family members that I had. Everybody else was creative except for me. But I got to a place where I had to realize you got some creativity too. And I am Mildred, I don't know if Brooks or Mildred Walker. I think she was Walker when she passed. I am Mildred Walker's granddaughter. I have no excuse but to be creative because my grandmother was extremely creative. My grandmother, she was a clothing designer. She was had a hair salon. She was an entrepreneur. Uh she had a lot. She made hats. Like my grandmother was the embodiment of creativity. And I never thought that I was creative until the last few years. Always had these desires to do different things, but those desires were in a way where I'm not the one creating it. I could probably tell somebody possibly how to create it. But I had to realize, hold up, sis, you have creativity too. There were people that tried to tell me I wasn't very creative. What? You know what? I got an attitude about that. So I am creative. That was one of the things that I recently learned about myself. That I am creative. I have a lot of things that I can birth out. A lot of things that help me be my authentic self, and creativity is one of them. Um, so that's something that has served its purpose in my relationship because I was able to create moments with my husband that I didn't create with anybody else, first of all. Second of all, um, they made those times extremely special. And I embraced that. Could he benefit from somebody else being creative? Maybe, I guess. But guess what? I'm the creativity. I'm the one it's me. Okay. So that was part of me being an individual because I those there were when I first moved here, we had conversations about I needed to find a hobby. I needed to find something to do that where I wasn't always just around him. So that meant I had to figure out more so who I was. Because if I need a hobby, if I got to get a hobby, then I need to know what I like to do. And I know I don't like to shop. Some women say their hobby is shopping. That is not my hobby. I am not going from store to store unless I have to. Like I just did that recently and it wiped me out. And I was running through those stores so fast because I can't. Being in stores all the time, that is not me. I like clothes. I like to get clothes, but being a shopper like that, like my mom, she's a shopper. No. Her and my sister, they are the shoppers. I can't. I will find something online and call it a day. I'm not running into the mall all the time just because. Like I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. So, um, what did I come up with? Oh, I went back to school. That was the thing that I ended up doing. I went back to school. I Going back to school was something that I did not think I was going to do, and I told Tariq this. I'm like, I never thought I would consider going back to school to finish up my bachelor's program. That after the whole debacle in Temple, I was done with school. School was not on my radar. And it wasn't for about 6 years, I think. 6 years. It took me 6 years to say, you know what, I'm going to go back to school because he was like, you need to find a hobby. So went back to school, and lo and behold, while I was in school about to graduate, my I had the inkling to go back to school again to continue my education. So that's how I ended up in my master's program. Cause God was like, yeah, you gonna have to keep going. I'm not done with you going to school yet. Oh, I thought I was just getting a bachelor's. He was like, no. So even after that, like I had to do I had to do a Venn diagram. Y'all know what a Venn diagram is. It's the diagram where you have two circles that overlap a little bit in the middle. And the middle is the how was it? The middle is the thing that you like the most or something like that. And you had these other thoughts in the other circles. So made a Venn diagram going back and forth about what I wanted to do, because while I was in school, I did I tried my hand at different courses. I tried my hand. I was going to be a double major, and I was going to do project management because I thought, hey, that would be a great idea. Become project manager. Then I didn't want it. Then I took a class on movies. I cannot remember the name of the class, but it was a film class. I love movies. Why not? I could be a critic or something. And that was a cool class. I enjoyed that class, but that's not the direction I was supposed to go in. So my major ended up being, because I was like, well, I started out on this psychology major. Let me just finish this major. So I did forensic psychology because I wanted to work in the FBI. I wanted to be a profiler. Like, it was a lot. Okay. Meanwhile, I was getting these certifications, doing different things. Like when I dove into school or dove into learning, I got completely soaked. Like I was in there. I was in there. Okay. And he told me get a hobby. By the time I got done with my hobby, he was exhausted because I was going back and forth about what I was going to do. But it turns out, things are falling in line just the way they're supposed to. So now we're not we're together often, but I don't have to be under him all the time. You see what I'm saying? I have things now to keep me busy. I have things now to shift my focus from just solely being Tariq's wife to being Ashley. Things that makes me an individual. Things that help me be independent. I have those things in place now that I decided to be obedient and become a therapist or just go back to school. Okay. So I have that. My business was birthed out was created out of my hobby. When I started my business, I think I was in my master's program. So I essentially had two babies. I had Marquise first, and then after was he one yet? I can't even, he was almost one when I started my business. So I essentially had two babies, and both of them keep me busy. Okay. Um, and Tariq is cool with it. It's times where I spent way more time on my business than I should have, And we've talked about those times. And I, navigated through those waters. But he is very supportive. He is very supportive. And it helps us to have a healthy relationship because we both have our things. We both have the thing that keeps us independent. It is working. So it's a great, amazing idea for you to maintain your independence and your individuality. Do the things that refresh you, replenish you, so that you can be the best version of yourself in your relationship, whatever that is. One thing that I cannot wait to get back to doing is going to the hair salon every 2 weeks. I cannot wait to do that. Had to take a little break from that, but I'm gonna get back to it. But that was one of the things that I truly enjoyed. It was more than just going to get my hair done so I don't have to do it. It was way more than that. For me, it was my independence because it was part of who I am because I love looking good. I love my hair. And my relationship with my hair is I could wear a short. I loved having short hair. Child, that short hair was everything. It was so easy for me. So I loved having short hair. But also, I just loved the creativity that my stylist brought with my short hair. I had mohawks, I had a pixie, I had a bowl cut, I had so many things. I was doing so much because that was who I am. Trying different things, doing different colors. Like I love now. I ain't gonna do blue or nothing like that. Like the other people that do that, you can have that. That's not me. But I loved my blonde hair. As you can see, my braids is blonde. And you see in that picture, my hair is blonde. I love having blonde hair. But I also love having these creative, funky styles that I would find like, hey, can we do this? And we would do it. And it would be so cute. I loved it because it helped me feel like me. And it was a bonus that I did not have to do my hair all the time. Okay. That was a great bonus because I hate doing my hair, but we've had to do it at home. But I that was what I loved. And even when I was working out all the time, at that point, that made me feel good also. That made me feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Taking care of my body. That was an excellent thing that I was doing. Okay. But those were the things that helped me present in my relationship the best version of me. There is no better confidence booster than coming home from the salon. Like y'all know you walk out of the hair salon and nobody can tell you anything. Okay. You can walk out the salon and feel like a new person. Totally new person. You can. And it's great. It is a great feeling. So, and because of that feeling, I can come back home in confidence and having a confidence that I didn't have before leaving home, and be more confident with my husband. I would be confident to the point where he would tell me, babe, I don't like that style. It didn't really matter to me. Because it is what I wanted. It made me feel good. It made me feel empowered. When I first cut my hair, it was right before we got married. I first cut my hair. It was breaking out in the back. a little bit. My hair was very long. It was all the way down my back. And it started to break out a little bit. So I was like, just cut it. And my stylist, Deshanka, she was like, what, cut it? What do you mean? Cut it off. Just cut it. It's hair, it'll grow back. Are you sure? She was checking with me multiple times to make sure I was sure that I wanted to cut my hair, because we did all this work for my hair to grow down my back. And once it did, I was like, yeah, we're good. Cut it off. And she's very scissor happy. So I could not have said anything better to her than to cut my hair off. And I came home, I got my pixie. It was like a 90s cut, like I was in the 90s. Actually it ended up being like a style that Denise had early on in the Cosby Show. Okay. So I had my pixie cut, my 90s cut, came home. We were going to see, I think it was called the Black and Brown Tour. And I walked in the door and he looked at me, rolled his eyes, and left. He was so upset that I cut my hair, because I ain't really talked to him about it. I just was like, well, my hair is breaking off, so we got to cut it. He didn't think we was going to cut it that short. And I cut my hair short. Like I loved it. It was so freeing. And he got himself together. He came back home and, he was like, I'm upset that you cut your hair. But I was like, it's hair. It'll grow back if I wanted to. So, and I kept my short hair for some years. I was loving it. But I did tell him, once I had, our child, I'll let my hair grow out. So I kept my hair short like the first maybe 2 years of his life. And then I was like, okay, well, let me follow through my word, and I'm going to let it grow. So here we are. Hair is growing. But I said all of that to say I was very that was those moments when I left after I cut my hair or after I color my hair, that made me feel so good. So good. And I would come home and I would be sassy, and I would feel good. I have so much confidence. Please. I loved it. I loved having my short hair. And that helped. It helped in our relationship, because I could go through a moment where, I'm maybe not feeling the best, or I'm upset because of something that happened, an argument or whatever. I go to the salon. I don't have to tell nobody about it, but just being there in that environment, that changed the whole day for me. The entire day. And I come back home happy. A new woman. Yes, Kathy, self-care is beautiful. And that was my self-care. And there's things that I'm going to continue to implement into my self-care routine. Here's something that was very simple to me. We got body brushes, right? And then I don't know if y'all know this. I saw this when I went to Target and I grabbed it. Dove has body scrubs. So I grabbed a scrub, and I love taking my shower and using my scrub. It makes me feel, my skin feels so great. And it feels so good, especially after like shaving my legs or whatever, and I rub the scrub on it. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. Or using the brush, putting the scrub on a brush. This might be excessive, but whatever. I put the scrub on the brush and I just scrub my whole body with the brush. I love it. My skin feels wonderful. My skin feels wonderful. You too, Kathy. I love it. My skin feels so good when I scrub it with my body brush. I love it. Absolutely love it. Um, and so when I get out the shower, or even if I go to bed, when I take my shower at night, and when I go to bed, um, and I do that routine in the shower before going to bed, I love it. I feel like I sleep really good. And then I have Dr. Teal's uh night lotion. When I tell you that is a combination of good sleep, I y'all I go to bed with a smile on my face. I love it. So those are things that I'm stuck on this topic. Let me move on. Those are things that you can do to see what makes you happy and what makes you feel independent. Um that lotion, the Dr. Teal's lotion, has lavender in it, melatonin in it, cocoa butter, and some other essential oils in it. It's magnificent. I sleep so good when I put that lotion on. Um, so you maintain your hobbies, and then you know, just like